Welcome. I'm Christy. Let's take a breath. All right, letting go of our day. Today we're going to focus a lot on shoulders. I'm going to use a block or two. Yeah, 2 blocks. If you don't have them, you can just skip through that part. We'll also I'm going to use a yoga blanket, but you can use a towel for that. So we'll do other yoga stretches, but I find that having props is really helpful for those extreme places. And then with a towel or a blanket, you can adjust how thick that prop is. I just had somebody in a class who was like, I could tell like she was just very protective of her back, which I totally understand. So by using an adjustable prop, so a block is what it is. With a blanket or a towel, like if you're like really, protective of your back, you can make it the tiniest little prop to just help create a little gentle opening and release out some tension, pain in the body. All right, so let's just begin here. Let's let our heads drop down very gently. Take a breath. And then let your head come back up. Another full breath. And Nadi Shodhana. This is where we're going to use thumb. It could be thumb and index finger. We're going to close off one nostril at a time. It could be thumb and ring finger, if that works for you. So it's a little more stressful because you're tucking down that index and middle finger. So thumb and middle and index finger work really well. Very easy there. All right. So here we go. Sometimes I'm just how I was trained, it becomes the habit. All right, so thumb closes off the right nostril, sit up tall, inhale through the left nostril. And then we're gonna exhale through the right. So close off that left nostril, with whichever finger you're using. Exhale through your right nostril. And then we're gonna inhale through the right. Close off the right nostril, exhale through the left. Inhale left. Change sides. So exhale, inhale, change sides. So other than that first breath, it's always an exhale and an inhale, and then switch. We're just gonna keep going for a couple rounds here. And then on your next left exhale, you're going to let it go. Oh, I forgot. I lost track there. All right. So if you're ready, let it go. I'm going to keep going there. All right, we're going to lie down. We're going to use something underneath the head to help open up neck and shoulders. I have 2 different size blocks here. So one is a little thicker than the other. We're going to put something underneath the head. So this can be your rolled up, folded up towel, blanket, pillow, or you can use a block. I'm not really sure how thick I want this to be yet until I get there. So I've got both sides of the blocks right here. If I need to make it a little lower, I'll shift it to the smaller block. But you're gonna come down onto your back. And you want something underneath your head. Again, this can be anything at all. It can be a pillow. I like the block because it's kind of, so if you place it the long way along your face, along the back of your head, then it's not really sticking out to the side the way a bed pillow does, because we're going to bring our arms up past our heads. If this hurts your shoulders, then do arms out at shoulder height. You can bend your elbows here. We just want to shift the arms to being up, and then the head is elevated. So if your prop is too thick, try lowering down onto something a little bit lower. Take a few breaths here. And notice how you are today. And then we're going to release this. We're going to pull the prop out from under the head. The head come on down, let arms just rest somewhere along your sides. They don't have to be close in. Just find a comfortable place for your arms to rest. A few big breaths here. Let's do reclining pigeon. So we'll get our hips moving, and then we'll do a little more on the shoulders. So that one really was a lot, the neck, but because there's that deep interconnection between neck and shoulders, working on one's usually going to work on the other one. So I find that one can be a nice gentle place to start. It's a good gentle stretch, I think, for the neck. All right, left foot on the floor, right ankle on top of your left thigh. We're gonna bring this left leg up, squeeze in. So watch what's happening here. If your hips are tight and your arms have to really extend forward to get the leg, then your head tips back. Not great on the neck or the shoulders. So that's where you could use your prop again underneath your head. So it lifts your shoulders up a bit for you. It'll kind of extend your arms a little farther forward. And then you can work on legs. So now your head's not tipped back, hopefully, in that really uncomfortable angle. And then your shoulders can relax a little bit as well. A couple more breaths. Soften your abdomen. And then left foot down, right foot up towards the ceiling. Hold the back of your right leg. So again, with your head up, so now your arms are already up higher. You can reach a little bit higher on the leg without stressing out. So it doesn't really matter where you're holding the leg, but where you are able to hold. So sometimes you just can't reach all the way up. But if you can reach up a little higher to your ankle, it may shift a little bit the sensation in the leg, hopefully in a good way. So if it's not in a good way, change, let your hands come down lower. Take a full breath. And let's let this right leg come down. We're gonna stretch that right leg out. Try to push your heel out from your hip. All right, how do you feel now? I feel better already. The minute I lie down on the floor, I feel better. It's a funny thing. All right, right foot on the floor, left ankle on top of the right thigh. And then we're gonna bring this right leg up, hold the back of the right leg. So how's this side? So you might have been okay on that first side, but maybe this side is tighter and you need that prop under your head here. We're just working on moment to moment, witnessing what's going on, working on adjusting, adapting. The side is feeling very heavy today. right, how long have I been here? Sorry, I'm like really losing track already today. Okay, deep into the breath. Let your right foot come down. We're gonna bring left leg up. Holding on to that left leg. I feel like the more you practice, the easier it becomes to kind of slip into that state. I feel like, well, I guess part of it is that, you know, as you're working regularly, the body doesn't get quite as tight. It's a little easier to stretch out, but just like that whole little mental shift and that nervous system shift just becomes a little bit easier to slow down the longer you practice. It can be really hard in the beginning, just learning how to be, you know, kind of calm and still can really take a long time. That could be far harder than any of the positions, that we put the body into. All right, let's let this leg come on down. Try to push your heel out from your hip. All right, and then let's do both feet on the floor. All right, I'm gonna do one more for the legs, and then we're gonna do the prop under the back. Okay, let's do arms up overhead, nice stretch. So if you have a block or you've got that blanket or towel, we're gonna do the legs up, and we're gonna take them out and bring them back together. I always like a little lift underneath my hips. So usually I just tuck my hands under. A lot of places I teach, we don't have props. So just that little bit for me, just kind of barely like under the hips helps. But if you want to do something, blocks can be hard because they are hard, right? So they can kind of dig into you. So if you want to use like a blanket or a towel, fold it up, just a little support, like right under the back of the pelvis. And then legs come up. Oh, that's nice. And then I'm gonna try not to kick anything here. We're gonna take the feet out wide. If you want a little deeper stretch, your legs are not too tight, little gentle pressure downward. But then we're gonna do legs back and forth. So let your feet come up, lower abdomen is squeezing in. And then we're gonna take the feet out wide and draw them carefully back in. So I'm feeling a little twinge in my hips here. I'm gonna go slow. I'm not exactly sure why I'm feeling that. I don't know, I'm gonna try it without my prop here. Yeah, it's a little bit better for me. So watch for those little subtleties about exactly how you're positioned. Keep breathing. Abdomen draws in. Feet are dropping out and pulling back in. Hips are cracking. So we're building a little strength and we're stretching at the same time. All right, let those feet come on down. Nice breath. Okay, so let's do our blanket or towel underneath the back to open up the shoulders. So here's how you can adjust. If you do your towel or your blanket, something I want to do it, yeah, towards the top of your mat, towards where the head is. Then you can just make like a little tiny sort of bump there. You can roll it. So if you know you can tolerate a thicker prop, you can roll your towel or your blanket all the way up. But if you want just this little tiny bit, you're gonna just maybe make a little fold. I don't know, can you see that on the, you can probably see it better than I can here. So you're just gonna take the end, so your head's gonna go up here, your shoulder blades are gonna come above the lip of the towel. So you're either, or the blanket, you're either rolling or you can just make a little fold. Just bring a little edge up. So you want your shoulder blades to come over this. So this little bump is gonna push up into your back and your shoulders are gonna drop down. It's gonna push your chest forward, which should help open up the shoulders. So again, we're just doing it really small for people who are feeling like their backs are really sensitive, or they're just really tight and painful. You want to start out really tiny. I used to have to just do the tiniest little roll in the blanket so that I could barely feel it because it was just painful. So this is coming, so this little edge that I made here, this little thicker edge, is right below the bottom of my shoulder blades here. My shoulder blades are above that. Arms come out, you're extending them out at shoulder height. So I can feel that. It's not huge, it's not painful, thank God. At this moment that I can tolerate a little thicker prop there. But I can feel like even just this tiny little bump is gonna make a difference for me. So if yours is too thick, unroll it, make it a little thinner. If it's not thick enough, make that roll a little bigger. So I'm gonna try rolling mine all the way up here. So the way I have my blanket folded, it's not gonna be too thick. So now it's more like a pool noodle kind of thing. And again, you're just gonna try to bring your shoulder blades off of it. So your shoulder blades come down onto the floor. Now that's a much more significant sensation for me. I'm gonna take my feet wide and let my knees rest together. Arms are above the prop or above the roll. And you're just letting those shoulders drop down. So this one's gonna help to fight because you're pushing into the spine, right? So we're creating like this little arc in the spine in that mid upper back area, which likes to hunch forward while we're seated or standing. So this will help counteract that rounding. So that rounding of the spine brings our shoulders forward as well. So when we do this little pushing of the spine forward, it makes our shoulder blades come back. So it may not feel like the biggest, deepest stretch for your shoulders, but it should give you some benefit in helping those shoulders open up. And then the question is, how long do you want to be here? So I'm feeling like I've had about enough here today. Some days I can do longer, some days not as long. I'm going to try to bring my feet up really close to my hips like a bridge pose, and then just gently, carefully bring my hips up. I'm going to take the prop and slide it down. So depending on how you have yours positioned, you might roll to your side. So if you had it more under your head, it's probably going to be harder to pull out that way. So you can maybe roll to your side. I'm going to pull the prop out to my side. I'm going to slowly lower my back down onto my mat. Take a few breaths. Observe how that feels. And if you like, bring your knees in. If it feels good to rock, you can rock. Well, that does feel good. I always find there's a lot of benefit from the shoulders, just from knees in and rocking. Shouldn't say always, right? Okay, feet. So arms between the knees, we're gonna grab hold of the feet for a happy baby. If that's too much today, let it go. Hold on to your knees and let your feet come back down. If you're gonna separate your feet here, just let them pull apart. And then maybe rock. So again, there can be some benefit for the shoulders here at Happy Baby, doing a little rocking from side to side. Good. And then let's release. We'll let the legs come down. I'm going to take a sip of water. And then we're going to do the prop along the spine. So now I've already created this long noodle shape with my blanket. It doesn't need to be quite this long. So your blanket or towel may not be this long. So again, you can control how thick this is gonna be. We want a little bit of a roll. So I might just roll it part way, so it's just a little bit of a roll. And then it's gonna be to your side, because we're gonna do this along the spine. You wanna sit and pull it up, maybe not quite touching the body, but line it up with where your spine is. And then you're gonna, yeah, mine's a little too close to my body. So I like that little end to come right into my low back. All right, so even though this is not terribly thick, I can still feel that. Now you're pushing the spine up between the shoulder blades. So the shoulder blades start to drop down on either side of that roll. If you want more neck support, if you have extra length there, you can kind of mush up or roll up your blanket or your towel. Or if you have a block or a pillow, you could maybe do that underneath your head. So arms can be lower this time. I'm in a cross leg position. You can have legs straight, you can have feet on the floor. If you're happy in reclining cobbler's pose, if you feel okay there, soles of your feet can be together. If this hurts in your inner hips and legs, then change your leg positioning. So as you hold here for several breaths, you can really go either way. You might feel like, okay, this isn't thick enough, I'm gonna roll it up a little bit more and make my prop thicker. Or you might find the opposite, that the longer you're there, the more you start to feel it. And maybe you're gonna unroll a little bit, or maybe you're just coming off altogether. Because either it's not a good pose for you, or it's not a good day, or just 2 breaths was, enough. So this feels good for me, even though I know I could make it thicker. It's just like it's like a happy sensation. It's not so intense. It feels like I can just relax a little bit. I feel like it's working on my back and it's helping to open up my shoulders. So a lot of times again, we can get into this mindset of everything has to be intense. It's nice when you can just find that spot that feels nice. Where you can just embrace that moment. Then we're gonna roll off again. So this way I'm just gonna roll off and I'm gonna flatten out my blanket. I'm just gonna unroll that edge and come back onto my back, wherever you want your arms to be. Observe how your back feels. And then we're going to gently make our way up. We're going to do a wide leg forward fold. If you want a little elevation for your hips, use your prop. Get your hips up there. We're going to take the feet out wide. So feet wide. We're going to fold forward. Having a little prop underneath your hips will make it easier to fold forward. If you have blocks too, you can put blocks underneath your arms. All right, let's do a little cat and dog. That's going to get into our shoulders as well. Onto hands and knees.
We're gonna round into cat, head and tailbone down. So the abdomen pulls in, the spine pulls up towards the ceiling. I feel like my spine's not going anywhere here today. Maybe it is, but it doesn't feel like it. That's okay. Inhale, let your spine drop down towards the floor. Head and chest come up. And then round back into a cat pose. Inhale into your dog. You can look, so from dog pose, you can try to look out to one hip. So as you try to bring your head to the right, you might feel a little more stretch in your left hip. You can feel it through the side of the body there. And then just back through center, you're going to take your head to look over towards the left hip. And then back to center. Curl your toes under, come into a downward facing dog. Let your head drop down. Feel your breath. If you can bring your heels up, bring your heels up. Your heels drop down. And then we're going to walk feet to hands. Coming into standing forward fold. Inhale all the way up, shoulders down. Reach your arms out, palms face up. Slowly bring your arms up overhead. Let your hands touch overhead. And then exhale, hands down to the heart. So hands coming to the heart, and there's like this little interconnection. Just drawing your mind inward. Release hands down by your sides. Circle your shoulders a little bit. And then we're going to turn to face the long side of the mat. Take your feet out wide. Big breath. All right, we're going to take it into extended side angle. So just here with your feet wide, just engage your legs like you're trying to squeeze your legs in towards one another. And then we're going to turn the feet. Let the right foot turn out, left foot follows, tailbone down. And so again, tighten up these legs like you're trying to draw them in towards one another. Even though you're pushing that back foot into the floor, you're pushing the outer edge of that back foot down into the floor. Arms come on up to shoulder height. Big breath. Let's rotate the wrists here. So just move your wrists around a little bit, wiggle your fingers. And then into extended side angle. Let that right hand or lower arm rest on your right leg. So this left arm, you can change that left arm positioning. If you bring your, especially for shoulder trouble, if you want to bring that left hand kind of to your low back or the back of your hip, it's going to help take your shoulder blade back a little bit. If it works okay, you can bring that arm up. Maybe it'll come all the way overhead. It's going to stretch your shoulder. It's going to stretch the side body. If the arm doesn't move that way, try dropping hand down towards the floor and then see if it'll come up in front of your face and the hand can extend out past the top of the head that way. Still trying to turn away from the floor, taking the shoulder blade backward. And then we're going to come up. We're going to turn the feet, right foot in, left foot turns out. Wiggle shoulders a little bit. Whoops, I'm going to fall over there. Bend in your left knee. Just yelled at me. All right. So if you're having knee issues, try moving that around. Sometimes it just doesn't land in the right spot. All right, arms up, shoulders down. So again, feel like you've got this firm stance, like you're drawing the legs in towards one another. And then we're gonna lean sideways, left hand or left lower arm on the thigh. Then it has this right arm. Where's this right arm going? Do you want to take it behind you first? Take that shoulder blade back and then bring it up. Come on up. Both feet towards the long side of the mat. We're gonna fold forward. Ease your way in. All right, and then we're gonna stretch the shoulders again here. Hands to your low back, interlace fingers, pull hands away from the body. And then work your way up. I'm gonna bring my feet in here and then come all the way up. Once you're up, reach arms up overhead. Hands touch, bring them on down to the heart. Take a full breath. All right, we're gonna try to face the whichever way is your front edge, short edge of the mat. Facing for short edge of the mat. Hands on your hips, pyramid pose. Step your left foot back. We're gonna fold over the right leg. Right hip pulls back. Just gonna fold forward over the right leg. Hands can come down onto the leg or onto the floor or onto blocks. Take a breath. And then we're gonna try to shift this into a low lunge. So you're gonna take your back foot back a little farther. Toes point forward. Let that left knee drop down. Lengthen out that back leg. And then curl back, toes under, bring that knee up. Step that left foot forward. Line your feet up. We're gonna take it into a squat. So walk your feet out a little bit, turn your heels in, your toes out. Bend your knees, let your hips drop down. You can bring hands into prayer if you're like. Try to lengthen up your spine. You may not feel like you can, right? You may really feel like you're getting pulled over, that's fine. But if you're able to lengthen your spine up, try to lift the top of your head up towards the ceiling. And then hands come down, we're gonna tip forward into forward fold. Walk your feet back in so they're a little closer together. Inhale all the way up, shoulder blades down, arms reach, hands touch overhead. Exhale, hands down to the heart. Big breath. Hands on hips, pyramid pose, right foot steps back. So just step that right foot back a little bit. We're gonna fold over the left leg. Left hip pulls back. Fold forward over the left leg. Hands can come down. Breathe. All right, so we're going to take this back foot back a little farther. Let that right knee drop down. Low lunge, lengthen out that right leg. Then we're going to step it back to down dog. So curl your back toes under. Oh, I need like 10 more breaths here. All right, back toes under, knee comes up. Let's gonna step back. We're into a down dog. If you're doing your vinyasa, line your wrists up, spread your fingers out wide. Come on into plank. If you're using knees come down. Come down carefully. Lengthen legs out behind you. Push into cobra pose. Come on down. All right, we're gonna take it back either into pigeon or reclining pigeon. So if you're coming into pigeon, come up onto hands and knees or down dog. If you're gonna do reclining pigeon, back onto your back, right ankle over left thigh. If it's pigeon, right knee forward and out to the right. Left leg moves back. If you're back bending, hands walk back, stretch your spine back. And then where do you want to hold the body? You're going to stay on your hands or come down onto lower arms. You could use a prop under your arms. You could use that towel or blanket underneath your arms. 4 blocks. And then we're going to change sides. So if you're in pigeon and you want to do the back foot, walk your hands up, bring that back foot up, try to squeeze it in, taking your shoulder back. So this one's another one. Like once I was able to get into it, I used to not be able to get my foot. Now that I can get into it deep enough, I can really feel it opening up the shoulder. So my shoulder blade's really pulling back here. And then we're going to stretch it out. Oh, that felt good. We're going to stretch out front leg. So I usually use my back toes and walk that leg forward, stretch out the front leg. So if you're on your back in a reclining pigeon, right foot goes up towards the ceiling. Stretch it out. And then we're going to we're going to change sides. So if it's pigeon, left knee comes forward and out to the left. If you're doing reclining, left ankle on top of right thigh. If you're going to come back into your back bend in a pigeon, hands walk back. And then where you're going to go on this side, you're going to stay on hands, come down onto lower arms. Where's your spot? And then releasing this side. And so again, if you're going to go for the back foot, woo, see how that side is. And then we're going to try to release this side. Stretch out. Okay, so one more supported back bend. We're going to do heart bench with the blocks if you have them. So if you don't have the blocks, you could repeat one of the first 2 supported back bends. So either blanket going across, so like a rolled up blanket or towel going across the spine, right below your shoulder blades, or the roll going along the spine. If you're going to do a heart bench, you're going to use 2 blocks. So the thicker blocks can be a little more difficult if the back is tight because they push into the back more, but they don't wobble as much as the thinner blocks. So, you know, it's 6 of one, half dozen of the other. But you're gonna do, if you're doing this, you're gonna do your block along that thin, long edge, so the medium height. And then you're gonna take your other block and you're gonna put it on the short side. And you're going to stand it up so that supports your head. Spine again goes along the block. And where exactly you position that block along your spine is going to be very personal. And for me, it's different every time I do it. So some days it's lower, some days it's higher along the spine. You want your shoulder blades to drop down on either side of the block, or feel like they're dropping on either side of the block. Arms can be out and close to your sides. This is where another prop can come in handy. So if you feel like if your shoulders are tight and you really feel like your arms are pulling too much, just propping a pillow or something underneath the arms can take a little bit of that stress off of the shoulders if you're feeling like it's too much. If your shoulders are not so tight, for a few breaths, you might be able to stretch your arms past your head. And then mostly work at letting your back relax. So whether you're on towel blanket or you're on the blocks, use your breath. And then you have to get off of the blocks. That can be the tricky part. So leaning to one side and onto that elbow is usually, I think, the way I do it. Then you're going to try to reach back, pull the other block out. Or if you're on the rolled up prop, maybe roll to one side. And then you just want to let your back be flat on the floor. It may feel funny. The thicker the prop, usually the stranger your back feels after that. And then we'll do a twist and Shavasana. So we're gonna do, if you wanna do like a regular twist, we're just gonna do feet on the floor, arms out at shoulder height, dropping the legs to the right. If you want the deeper twist, cross your left leg over your right leg. Let your legs drop to the right. Pay attention to your back shoulder. So twists are another one I find really helpful for shoulders. You can move that back arm around any spot that feels right. And we're going to come back to center, slow and easy. You can just take that pause here with your low back down, or you can pull your knees in. Take a breath. And then we're going to take knees to the opposite side. Crossing, bring your right leg over your left leg, legs drop over to the left. So now pay close attention to your right shoulder and where you want that right arm to be, how your right shoulder is doing there. come back to center. Low back down or knees in or happy baby. We'll do Shavasana for a few minutes. So get comfortable. Put something under your head, under your knees, over you, whatever you need. I'm going to set the lovely timer. Feel your body expanding with the inhales, and contracting and softening on the exhales. Letting your body soften and relax with each exhale.
Take a deeper breath. Notice how you are. Gently move your fingers, your toes. You can move your wrists and your ankles. If it feels right, turn your head from side to side. Stretch your arms past your head. Bend your knees and roll to one side. And slowly make your way up to seated. Right now. All right, hands at the heart. Nice full breath. Thank you for being here and sharing in this practice today. Namaste.